G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we're going to be checking out this from Helifact, whatever it is. I think it's just a rebranding of the Fury Bee, but this is the 5-inch racer with possibly one of the dumbest names I've ever heard of. It's the Fuuton 2, and a long time ago, I did review the original Fuuton, and a lot of people like that, people like Andy RC, but what we're checking out today, this is the V2 version, and I feel like these things, they're getting kind of generic. We've had so many releases come out of some cheap bind and flies, so what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be putting it through its paces, finding out is this a good one for you, and probably the difference between this one and some of the other cheaper ones out there is it's actually got some good kit in here. Things like a run cam, camera at the front, Holybro flight controller, F4, all that sort of stuff in here. So it actually has some pretty good kit that I'm hoping translates into a good flight experience or a good value flight experience. But time will tell. So what we're going to do, I want to do this video a little bit differently, try and smash through some of the text and the specs on the bench, and then the fun stuff. Let's go out, have some fun with Crash to Tell, Grumpy Trev, hit it with a speed gun, all those good shenanigans, because FPV is all about having fun with your friends. So let's stick it on the bench and quickly get through the bench stuff and then go have a ball. All right, let's do it. Alrighty, here it is on the bench, and first things first, let's get through the overview. So it's a 5-inch racer designed to be taken out of the box, ripping around with some fairly good components in there. And let's jump in very quickly, go through the components. Props first, we've got some cyclones, 5048, pretty generic looking stuff on the motors. Also generic 2305, 2400 kV ESCs on the arm, a 30 amp B or Heli 32-bit. Flight controller in the middle, this is one of the goods. We've got the Holybro Cocoot F4 flight controller, Betaflight OSD. Holybro changeable VTX with smart audio on the top, 48 channels. Great camera at the front with a run cam micro with the 2.3mm lens. Small little buzzer towards the back. Pagoda antenna with an SMA pigtail attached to a MMCX connector to the VTX. The whole thing weighing without props is about 280 grams, and it's 215mm from motor to motor. Now the design of the thing, it looks very reminiscent of the Floss 2, except we've got our brace plate here, which I really like. It's made up of 4 individual arms. Each one of those arms is coming in at 4mm thick, and it's a sort of slam style, so your center of gravity should be very, very nice when you put a battery on the bottom, with a big sticky battery pad as well. Quality, I'm only going to give it about a 6 out of 10, because some of these solder joints in here, I am worried in a hard crash, are those things going to snap off? The components though, I think in the middle parts with the flight controllers, the VTX, the run cam, all that part is really good, and the ESC's 32-bit, that part should be fine. I'm not sure how these motors and prop combo is going to go though, The motors seem very generic, but time will tell. But moving on, let's quickly talk about the pros and the cons. Things I do like. I like those middle components. I think that's all fantastic. That quality with the Holybro stuff and the run cam stuff should be very good. I like the design of the frame. I think a sandwich plate means it's going to be very strong, and I think that's one of the faults of the other one is how there's no extra brace plate. So I think this thing is going to hold up very, very well in crashes. Camera protection is a little bit lacking. I wish there was a little bit more. I do not like these generic motors. I don't know how they're going to perform. Now with the ESCs on the arms, that's a pro and a con, because there's no protection. They're going to stay cooler, but a lot of people are moving towards 4-in-1s nowadays. I'm not sure if you could fit that in here. I do not like the pigtail, how it's just been crammed. You should have had a right angle pigtail in there, because if this part breaks, well, you're not going to be getting any video reception, so I'm going to give it a massive deduction of points for that part right there. A nice little touch here. You do get a battery pad, which adds a few little bonus points. Go to antenna, that's a nice little touch. I do think I would probably prefer a little dipole though, but that could just be me. I think they hold up better in crashes. And then if you get this one, you're going to need to do a little bit of work, because the screw's a little bit light. You can see I do need to tighten them up massively because they're moving around. So little things with the quality control like that. If you've got this, make sure you're going to be screwing it down and putting an extra zip tie into, maybe to hold your XT60 lead right there, so it's not going to get jettisoned in a battery. And also you're going to need to mount your cameras, your antennas better than this one had, because it just had them slid through the outside. That's just asking for it to get cut by the props. But that's it on the bench. What did you think of all those fast facts about the Fuuton? That's a lot of F's in there, but let's take it out to the field and have some fun. So let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Rightio, out here in the field, about to rip it around with the Fuuton 2. Hopefully it doesn't fly like a sofa, but we'll rip it, show you some HD footage, head over to Grumpy Trev, crash test Cal, and then hit it with the speed gun. Alrighty, here we go on board, and we're not going to end up hitting it with the speed gun. I almost want to hit it with the hammer, but for me, it was a really big disappointment, because we'd set up this little track, and I've got to say, I was really excited. I had about 30 more packs to do, and for some reason, I only bought out this 5-inch for a little bit of flying, and I was really upset when you see what happens at the end of this video. You don't always need the most complex track to have a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to it, and on this first maiden flight, I'd done a little hover, and then this flight, and I was like, yeah, this is feeling good. I like the rates. There's no oscillation. The FPV feed is really, really nice. And out of the box, it just works. So this is it, out of the box, no tuning, nothing like that. And that's exactly what we want when it comes to a vine and fly, you know. So I was going to say, Helifar, it looks like this is flying pretty well. But then we ran into some strife, and Trevor's on the track there, which is freaking me out because I don't want to run into him whatsoever. He decided to sort of stand near these gates around the outside. I don't know what he was doing, you know, doing this little loop here. And in a moment, I come back and clip that gate, and you're going to see exactly what happens. And that is a really, really big shame. I don't know why they put these quads together that have good components on the inside, and quads are only as strong as their weakest link. And definitely for me, it was those motors that I was a little bit skeptical about. And I know, like, look, sometimes people get unlucky in reviews and that sort of stuff, but a crash like this, it really shouldn't be the case. You know, if I was flying over concrete or a band or I hit a metal pole, anything like that, it would be, I could sort of, I guess, excuse it a little bit, or at least bring it up a bit more. This one, there's no way that this motor should have broken like it did. It was just a complete burnout and an absolute disaster. So it makes me, look, that little clip there, oh, we clipped the flag, we go up a little bit, and then the motor just decided it was starting to struggle. It was all over, and that shouldn't be happening. And then that was it for the drone. Totally done. Oh, I think I burned a motor, and I was loving that. Okie dokie, so we had a flight. It was feeling good in the air, and then you like this, that was its first couple of maiden flights. We hit a little flag there, and we cooked a motor. So I'm gonna let Trevor, you can sort of express my thoughts, but this looks like it's a piece of so yeah, I'm gonna say definitely, I like the components on the inside, which I thought was the Holy Bro and the run cam. That stuff was good. I didn't mind the frame, but when it comes to those motors, like I said on the bench, I do not like these generic motors. I was a bit skeptical, and it just turns out this one, massive letdown. So definitely give this one a big miss. No matter how good it looks, they still need to get back to the drawing board and put in some other good components. They've got the good stuff in there. Don't put it with these terrible motors on the outside. Look, I could have just got unlucky, but that's not very good after one flight to sort of have to deal with that. You'd be very unhappy.
It was a bit greedy, you, Stu. We didn't even get a chance to fly.
You didn't even, that's, you know, that's very rare. You know, a drone should definitely be able to take more crashes. So I guess what's your impression? He's throwing my batteries on the ground. Look at that, throwing my stuff on the ground. Well, what do you reckon of this? What did it look like in the air when I was flying it around, actually?
It actually looked pretty good.
Yep.
But
now, what do you reckon? But let's pretend it hasn't burnt out. What do you think of it, like the frame design and I guess some of the parts in there? We've got a Holy Bro Cocoot F4 run cam in the front. What would you generally think of that drone?
It does actually look all right. All you did was hit a gate, just a really minor little stack, and this thing's crapped itself. I was going to say Stuart, I have to bleep it. But look, other than that, the components look really good. I mean, it's got some great stuff in there, but
I'm going to clarify that. Got some great stuff in here, but not out here. In the middle, The
motors are unbranded for a reason, because they're unbranded pieces of So, yeah, I don't care what they're selling it for. It's not worth it.
All right. Nice. I guess performance out of 10, Trevor?
I'd give this -1.
Okay, and what about value for money for something that breaks after one crash?
Well, look, it's not worth buying. So there's no value at all in this.
No worries.
At all. Not even for parts. I mean, you can't even use the motors. How bad is that?
Thanks, Trev. What I actually think I'm going to do, I want to replace some of these motors because I like the internals. So I'm probably going to switch those out.
With decent motors on it, this thing's really got the potential to fly well. But you know, they've just put some crappy motors on. Why do they do that?
Rightio, so there's my review of this big steaming pile of garbage. I mean, there's my review of the Fuuton V2, and overall, I'm going to say stay away from this piece of rubbish. Don't buy it, because we shouldn't have drones nowadays that come out and you get one flight. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's definitely a waste of money. Now, what I'm going to do, which it's a massive shame because I like the components. I mean, in terms of the stuff in the middle, we've got our Holy Bro Cocoot F4, their VTX, the run cam bit at the front. I like the frame design. It's a bit like the Kopis, a bit like the Floss, but everything's got to be top notch if you want a top notch buy and fly. Don't give us some good parts and some rubbish parts, because you know it's only as strong as its weakest link. And definitely for me, like I mentioned, those motors, I was a bit skeptical, and surprise, surprise, it didn't perform too well. So definitely don't buy one of these for me. What I'm probably going to do, I'm going to be swapping this thing out, because I do, like I said, I like the internals. I'm going to be swapping this out for some more powerful motors, but that's another project for another day. I'm pretty sure that Gearbest, they're not going to be very happy with me saying don't buy this, but look, I don't work for them, I work for you guys, and I'm going to say give this one a miss unless you're prepared to buy some extra motors anyway, swap it out. It's just not going to be worth it. Anyway, what do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. Sorry there was no speed run, crash test scale, grumpy Trev, because we didn't even get that far. Anyway, enough rambling, and as always, happy flying. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.